My husband secretly cheated through a hidden app on his phone, but when I exposed him to his parents, what they did next shocked everyone deeply. I met my husband when I was 17 years old, and he was 21 at the time. He was stationed at the Kohei Marine Corps Base in Hawaii, and I was living in Mililani, Mauka. I was head over heels in love with him. He had a very muscular build, sexy tattoos, a gorgeous smile, and was so adorable and romantic. After dating for a while, he decided that he was going to be getting out of the military and moving back home to his city. I was so in love with him that I followed. I was 20 at the time, and he was 24. We figured that we would start our lives together. We had a very intimate wedding with just the two of us, and we were so in love. Throughout our relationship, during the early days, we always had issues with how he treated other women. My husband is an extremely good-looking man, and I'm not just saying that because he's mine. He's flirtatious, charming, and funny. I knew this from the get-go. However, most of the time I could tell him to cut off the women I was concerned about, and he'd do it, or at least he would tell me he would cut them off. Our marriage has become rocky recently. I'm still madly in love with him, however, I cannot say he feels the same way about me. He tells me he loves my body and me, but I feel like he tells everybody that. Today, I skipped work as I had several panic attacks before my shift and ended up calling in sick. The past few days, I've been having multiple panic attacks a day over my husband and the way he speaks to other women. I became more aware of him and all his red flags. My husband left earlier for 3 hours without saying a word to me about it. He left his computer on. I walked into our bedroom and saw it. I ignored it at first until my husband came home. He wouldn't answer my questions as to where he was, and I was concerned. He got a Snapchat notification, and it went through to his computer while he was downstairs grabbing his clothes out of the dryer and feeding the dog. I checked the notification out of curiosity, hoping it would answer the questions my husband failed to answer, and it did. There were nudes sent by an old friend of his that I recognized by name, and then she texted, "Nice seeing you today, baby." I added her on Snapchat and asked her if she knew my husband. She told me that he was a friend. She asked me if I was related to him, as my Snapchat has the same first and last name with numbers. I took his last name, and I proceeded to tell her that he and I are married. She began to apologize as soon as she heard this, saying he had told her he was single with no girlfriend or wife. I was heartbroken. She told me she would have never spoken to him if she knew he was married. He didn't wear the ring when they were out that day. He lied to her. He lied to me. I confronted my husband, and I have never seen that man so angry. I was afraid of him. I've never been so scared of him before. He was yelling and seemed to have no sympathy for me. Then he dried my tears, only to punch the wall multiple times and rip our bedroom door off the hinges. He broke his fist. I had to bring him to the hospital and sat in that waiting room with him for hours, and we barely spoke. Eventually, we got over this fight, and things seemed to be normal for a while. Last year, I discovered I was pregnant, and the joy that filled our hearts seemed to signal a turning point in our relationship. My husband, seemingly changed by the prospect of fatherhood, became attentive and supportive. Together, we eagerly anticipated the arrival of our child, and when our son was born, a newfound happiness enveloped our little family. For a brief period, it felt like we had overcome the challenges that had plagued us before. Parenthood brought us closer, and my husband's commitment to our family appeared unwavering. The sleepless nights, the shared laughter, and the mutual responsibility of caring for our child forged a bond that I believed would withstand any storm. However, as time unfolded, cracks began to surface in the facade of our seemingly idyllic life. The signs of his old habits crept back in: late nights, secretive behavior, and the subtle distance that emerged between us. I brushed off the nagging doubts, attributing them to the stress of parenting and the inevitable adjustments that accompany a growing family. Last month, my husband asked me to use his phone to open his bank app. I do this all the time, but this time, while scrolling through the app, I saw a new app downloaded on his phone that I didn't recall seeing before. It was a calculator app, which I found strange considering he has an iPhone, and iPhones automatically come with a built-in calculator. I didn't know what to make of this, so I just pretended like I didn't see it and made a mental note of the app's default picture so I could look it up myself later. After we went to bed last night, I found the app on my phone. Long story short, it turned out to be an app that's made to look like a calculator, but in reality it was a hidden photo and video app where you enter a passcode to store all your private videos and photos. I felt sick to my stomach, and although I'm not proud of it, when I was sure he was 100% asleep, I took his phone to the bathroom and went through it. I started with his messages and socials and found nothing. The last thing I decided to check was this app. His passcode wasn't hard to figure out: the year our son was born. It turns out he's been cheating on me with a woman who I assume is his coworker, based on the text conversations that were saved, for about 7 months as far as I could tell. There were screenshot conversations, nudes of her, and worst of all, there were photos and videos of them together. Not out and about or anything, just all sexual in nature. I wanted to throw up, but I forced myself to look through them. I knew immediately I needed to make an out for myself and wanted all the information I could get. One video of them in particular made my skin crawl. He works the night shift at his job, and it is starting to get chilly where we live, especially at night. In this particular video, he was being the slimy, dirty cheater he is with her in the car we share. To keep it short, they were in the passenger seat, and she was on top of him. In the video, she mentioned being cold, and this slimeball paused, reached into the back seat and grabbed our toddler son's blanket and wrapped it around her. I was shaking at this point. I could not watch any further, as this crossed a line in my brain that almost made me snap. But somehow I remained calm, collected the evidence, put his phone back, and went to sleep in our son's room for the rest of the night. It's the next morning, and it's taking everything in me not to blow up on him, but I want to hit him where it hurts the most. I immediately contacted a divorce lawyer so I could leave him eventually. Meanwhile, I reached out to his parents, telling them about their cheating son. For context, my mother-in-law had been cheated on in her last relationship when she was married to my husband's birth dad. A few years later, when his birth dad had passed away because of cancer, she eventually met and married Sean, who had helped raise my husband since he was just a kid when his dad passed away. I knew that I needed to share the painful truth about their son's infidelity, a conversation I never imagined having. After making the call, we arranged to meet at their home, and as I sat inside, the tension in the air was palpable. His parents greeted me with warm smiles, unaware of the storm I was about to unleash. I took a deep breath, gathering the strength to reveal the heartbreaking reality of their son's actions. Sitting down with them, I began with a heavy heart. I need to talk to you about something difficult. It's about your son, and I don't know how else to say it, but he's being unfaithful. The initial shock on their faces mirrored the shock I had felt upon discovering the betrayal. His mother's eyes widened, and his father's expression shifted from welcoming to a mix of concern and disbelief. I continued, laying out the evidence that exposed the affair, the pain evident in every word I spoke. His mother, visibly upset, listened intently, occasionally glancing at his father as if seeking confirmation that this was a nightmare they could all wake up from. As I presented the screenshots, messages, and images, the room seemed to grow heavier with each passing moment. After the initial shock settled, his mother spoke, her voice a mix of anger and sadness. I can't believe he would do this. How long has this been going on? I shared the timeline, and her disappointment deepened. His stepfather, normally composed, struggled to find words. His silence conveyed a complex mix of emotions. He can't get away with this, she asserted, the pain in her voice revealing her personal history with infidelity. The echo of past betrayals seemed to intensify the gravity of the situation. She leaned in and with a tone that carried the weight of past experiences said, "You can't let him get away with this. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to our family. He has a son now and still chose to destroy his marriage. He needs to face the consequences of his actions." Her words hung in the air, urging me to take a stand against the betrayal. As the gravity of the situation settled in, she looked at me and suggested something that caught me off guard. What if we expose his affair on my 50th birthday? It's a gathering of our closest friends and family. It might sound extreme, but sometimes the truth needs to be laid bare for everyone to see. Surprised by the proposal, I hesitated, unsure about the implications of such a public revelation. She continued, "I know it's unconventional, but sometimes drastic situations call for unconventional measures. This way, he won't be able to deny or escape from what he's done." As her words sank in, I felt a mix of apprehension and empowerment. The idea of exposing the truth in such a public manner seemed daunting, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that it might be the only way to ensure he faced the consequences of his actions. Taking a deep breath, I agreed. "All right then, let's do it. If that's what it takes to make him understand the gravity of his choices, then I'm willing to go through with it." With a nod, his mother assured me, "We'll support you every step of the way. He can't keep hurting you like this." Little did I know that her suggestion would set in motion a series of events that would ultimately reveal the truth to everyone gathered on that fateful 50th birthday celebration. In the days leading up to the party, I meticulously crafted a PowerPoint presentation that would expose his affair. But as I worked on it, I had a change of heart. Instead of focusing solely on the incriminating evidence, I decided to showcase the beautiful moments we had shared over the years. I sent the presentation to his parents, trusting them to share it at the party. I also diligently collaborated with my divorce lawyer so I could serve my husband with divorce papers during the party. It was a well-thought-out strategy to make the impact even bigger, ensuring that the consequences of his actions hit both emotionally and legally. Amidst the birthday celebration, the room brimmed with a festive atmosphere, blissfully ignorant of the storm brewing beneath the surface. As laughter and chatter echoed, my mother-in-law, the unexpected hostess, rose from her seat, commanding the attention of the room with a genuine smile. She began her speech, expressing gratitude for the journey that had brought her to the milestone of turning 50. "Thank you all for being here today. It's a special day for me, reflecting on the ups and downs, the joys and the challenges that have shaped these past 5 decades. She shared, her words casting a warm nostalgia over the gathering. As the crowd attentively listened, she shifted the focus toward my husband, the golden child in her narrative. "Now let's talk about my son," she continued, a proud gleam in her eyes. "I can't express how proud I am of the man he's become. He's achieved so much, and I'm especially grateful for the wonderful woman he's chosen to share his life with." The room buzzed with agreement, acknowledging the love and joy we had supposedly brought into each other's lives. It was a seamlessly crafted transition, luring everyone into a false sense of security before the unveiling of a harsh reality. However, as she spoke, her tone subtly shifted. "But life is not always as simple as we wish it to be," she began, her expression clouding with a mix of disappointment and determination. The air in the room tensed as she continued. "It pains me to say this, but I've recently discovered something about my son that has left me deeply disappointed." The room hushed, an uneasy silence settling in. The unexpected revelation hung in the air as she expertly navigated toward the PowerPoint presentation. "To truly understand what I'm talking about," she said, her voice steady, "I need you all to see for yourselves." With a few clicks, the screen transitioned, and the atmosphere shifted from celebratory to somber. Conversations between my husband and his affair partner materialized, exposing the hidden truth. Gasps and whispers spread like wildfire as the shocking reality of his infidelity became painfully apparent. Throughout this revelation, my husband's initial composure wavered, his eyes widened in disbelief, and a subtle bead of sweat formed on his forehead. The room, once filled with celebration, now crackled with an uncomfortable energy. His mother, undeterred by the discomfort, forged ahead. "I never thought I'd see the day when my own son would follow in the footsteps of his biological dad, a man who hurt me deeply with his betrayal," she admitted, her disappointment palpable. The weight of her words lingered, casting a shadow over the room. Amid the unsettling revelation, my mother-in-law, with a steely resolve, decided to address another matter of utmost importance. "It's not just about exposing the truth," she declared, her gaze unwavering. "I've reached a milestone myself, turning 50. And it's prompted me to reevaluate certain aspects of my life." The room, still reeling from the shock of the affair unveiling, shifted its attention toward her. With a firm voice, she continued, "I've decided it's time to make some changes, starting with my will." The gravity of her words hung in the air, a subtle tension building as the guests exchanged curious glances. "As of today," she proclaimed, "I have updated my will, and I want to make it clear that my son will not be included in it." Gasps of surprise rippled through the room, mirroring the shockwaves of the preceding revelation. My husband's expression shifted from disbelief to a mix of hurt and confusion. She went on, her tone unwavering. "I've decided to leave everything to our grandson." The weight of her announcement settled, the implications echoing through the room. The crowd processed the significance of her choice, and the newfound tension permeated the atmosphere, adding to the weight of the moment. His stepdad spoke up, his words cutting through the charged air. "I agree with her decision," he affirmed, his gaze firm. "Even my assets will be going to our grandson, not you." The room, already laden with tension, now bore witness to a unanimous declaration, leaving my husband grappling not only with the repercussions of his actions, but also with the collective disapproval of those closest to him. I then stepped forward toward my husband, who looked like a deer caught in headlights, holding out the divorce papers to him. The room fell into a tense silence as all eyes shifted to the unfolding drama. His shock transformed into desperation as he attempted to plead and explain his actions, but the weight of the evidence left him struggling for words. "I can explain. Please, just hear me out," he stammered, his voice filled with a desperate urgency. His eyes, once filled with confidence, now reflected a vulnerability that only intensified as the seconds ticked by. In response to his plea, I couldn't suppress a bitter laugh, the culmination of the pain and betrayal echoing in the sound. Explain? After all the lies and deceit, I retorted, my voice carrying a mix of disdain and hurt. This was your very last chance, and you squandered it. His attempts to justify his actions fell on deaf ears as I extended the divorce papers to him. Leaving the party, a sense of satisfaction washed over me, knowing that my in-laws had imparted a valuable lesson to my husband. It was an acknowledgement that he would finally grasp the consequences of his despicable actions. Since that moment, my husband has persistently called and messaged me, lamenting that I've destroyed his life. He continued to say that it was because of me that his parents went a bit too far to punish him. So Reddit, am I the asshole for exposing my cheating husband and helping his parents expose his deceitful ways, even though they might have gone a bit too far? I knew I needed to move out and reached out to my brothers and parents to help me move. With their help, I packed my bags and moved out of that toxic environment. As I was in the process of moving out, my ex-husband, perhaps sensing the gravity of the situation, confronted me with a desperate plea. His eyes, once filled with confidence and charm, now reflected a mix of regret and urgency. He begged me to reconsider, attempting to articulate explanations for his actions and promises of change. The weight of his words hung in the air as he grasped at straws to salvage what was left of our shattered relationship. This time, I stood firm, unwavering in my resolve to break free from the cycle of betrayal and heartache. Despite his passionate pleas, I held my ground, expressing the depth of the pain he had caused me. However, he didn't relent, persistently calling me and my parents, begging for another chance. In response, my older brother stepped in, delivering a stern warning for him to cease his efforts. We took the necessary steps to block him from our phones, ensuring that the only place our paths would cross moving forward would be in the courtroom. A few weeks after the dramatic birthday party revelation, my mother-in-law hit me with some unexpected news. It turns out my ex-husband decided to make a surprise visit to her doorstep, all in a desperate attempt to win back a spot in the family will. Well, that plan crashed and burned. The situation escalated quickly, tensions rose, and words were exchanged as my mother-in-law firmly stood her ground. It didn't take long for things to get heated, and the need to involve law enforcement became apparent. The situation reached a boiling point, and she and his stepdad had to drop the threat of calling the police just to coax him into leaving. I think my ex-husband is losing his mind slowly. The divorce stuff has been pretty tough, but the proof I had on my husband and his affairs has really helped my case a lot. He obviously tried to fight hard at first, saying nasty things and trying to make me look bad. But my strong evidence, like his messages, videos, and pictures, showed the truth, and eventually, he and his lawyers stopped with their tricks. As the legal process moves forward, my main focus has been on taking care of our son. He's the best part of my life, and I always make sure that he's okay, even with all the legal stuff. I keep looking forward and staying strong for our son. Throughout this tough time, my ex-mother-in-law has been my rock. Her support and understanding meant a lot during this time. I'm really thankful for her strength and the family-like atmosphere she continues to maintain with me despite my divorcing her son. Despite all the ups and downs, she has ensured our son has a stable and loving environment. She's more than just a mother-in-law. She's a reliable ally when things get tough, making this challenging journey a bit easier to handle. Last month, as I shared my ongoing struggles, I was still navigating the turbulent waters of legal proceedings, bracing myself for a prolonged battle. I had anticipated months of back and forth, but to my astonishment, this week brought unexpected news from my lawyer. My ex-husband has conceded to every one of my demands, including my requests for child support. It appears that his newfound urgency to finalize our divorce stems from meeting someone new. While this revelation might have once sparked jealousy or pain, I find myself surprisingly at peace with it. I've reached a point of emotional clarity where his choices no longer hold sway over my heart. My focus now is on moving forward, free from the drama that once defined our relationship, and embracing the opportunity to rebuild my life on my own terms. During our final court meeting, my ex-husband approached me, his demeanor a stark contrast to the confident man I once knew. There was an awkwardness to him, a hesitancy that betrayed his usual charm. He offered an apology, and I listened, torn between skepticism and a faint curiosity about his intentions. Our conversation unfolded like this. I've been reflecting a lot, he began, his voice low, and I know I messed up terribly. I'm truly sorry for the pain I caused you. I raised an eyebrow, surprised by his candor. What prompted this change of heart, I asked. He admitted, "I've started therapy, trying to understand myself better. I realize now how wrong I was to betray you. I don't want us to end on bitter terms." I couldn't help but remark, "Therapy? That's new for you." He nodded, his eyes downcast. "I know I ruined what we had. I regret it deeply, and I don't want our son to grow up resenting me for tearing our family apart." I responded firmly, "Our son will learn the truth when he's ready, and he'll make his own judgments." His sincerity was evident, a rare glimpse of vulnerability that I hadn't seen in years. He spoke of his hope that, in time, I might forgive him, not for his sake, but for the possibility of co-parenting harmoniously for our son's benefit. I acknowledged his words with a nod, wished him well, and walked away, feeling an unexpected lightness. The finalization of our divorce has been a release, like shedding a heavy cloak of doubt and betrayal. No longer do I lie awake, haunted by questions of loyalty or trust. The toxicity that once suffocated me has dissipated, replaced by a sense of liberation and the promise of new beginnings. I can now make choices for myself and my son without the shadow of his infidelity looming over us. This newfound freedom has allowed me to reflect on the journey that brought me here. The pain of discovering his affairs, the courage it took to confront him, and the strength I found in sharing the truth with his parents have all shaped me into someone stronger, more resilient. I'm no longer the young woman who followed her heart to a new city blinded by love. I'm a mother, a survivor, and a woman determined to create a brighter future. My ex-mother-in-law, a pillar of strength throughout this ordeal, has extended an invitation to me and my family for a lunch this coming week to celebrate the closure of this chapter. Her unwavering love for me and my son, despite the dissolution of my marriage to her son, is a testament to the bond we've forged. She continues to embrace us as family, offering a warmth and stability that I cherish deeply. As I move forward, my priority is clear: to surround my son with positive, uplifting influences. I dream of a future where he grows into a man of integrity, compassion, and strength, qualities I hope will set him apart from the mistakes of his father. This journey, though painful, has taught me the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for myself. With the legal ties severed and my heart unburdened, I'm ready to embrace the possibilities that lie ahead, confident in my ability to create a life filled with love and hope for both myself and my son.